and one of them was a homeowner association. So in 1971, we basically went up to the state of Washington and lifted their laws and came down here and looked them over and said, all right, you know what? This process is kind of cumbersome, so we're going to make this a little easier here in the state of Arizona.
What is the price?
And they adopted the trustee statutes, and they put into Title 33 a section, Chapter 6.1, and it's 801 to 820. And now it was a quicker process because it didn't involve going to court, so there was no judiciary. So this part of it, once they put in the trustee sale process, it's all non-judicial. In other words, all they have to do is file paperwork. Actually record paperwork, wait the times that are in it, and then they can have the house. So they attach the debt to the house with an instrument called a deed of trust. Let me just do deed of trust. It's a brand new instrument that took out the note. No more notes. Now we have deeds of trust. You'll hear people talking about judicial and non-judicial states. Judicial states have a note, or excuse me, that's mortgage, right? We used to have mortgages here, but we don't have mortgages anymore. Judicial states still have mortgages. Deed of trust states or non-judicial states have deeds of trust, and that's what we are. That's where we are. Okay, so this became the security instrument against the house. And when you bought a house, you signed a note and a deed of trust. Now the note, so they didn't have to do the whole judicial thing anymore. The deed of trust allowed them, if they had the note, to come in and just do paperwork and take your house essentially administrative. It was a very quick process, very easy to do. So what happens? People that are in the house, they've got this deed of trust now, and they own the house. They run into some kind of hardship, or they decide, you know what? My house, I owe 200. My house is only worth 100, 110. You know what? I can pull this up on a computer for you, but I can show you what happens here. You have, let's say, dollars on this line, and over on this side you have time. When you pay off a mortgage, it essentially goes out like that to get paid off. But what's happening here is we're catching a lot of people that are in the first year or two, maybe 3 years, and they're starting to struggle with their house payments. And their value was up here to start with on the house, but now the value's down here. So if you plug in an appreciation rate at this point, say this early into the loan, even if houses were appreciating right now, you're going to see that the house values are going to do this. So the question that these underwater homeowners are starting to realize is the question that they should be asking is, when is that? When is the value of my house going to equal the value of what I owe on my mortgage? And for most people, and I have a spreadsheet that people can put their own numbers in. I don't care what numbers they use. Most of them are 10 to say about 17 years. So people are going to be upside down for this long. And the question these people are asking themselves is, well, what happens if I need to move in 5 years? Well, if they need to move in 5 years, who's going to come up with this money right here to pay this off? That's the question people are starting to realize is the issue of being so far underwater. So what now you're seeing is people strategically saying, I can see the writing on the wall here. And one thing I don't have anywhere on my outline is, right now, if you're forgiven this debt up until the end of this year, you're not going to have to pay taxes on it. But after the beginning of next year, you may have to pay taxes on this amount as if it was income that you received from your job. It's the Debt Forgiveness and Relief Act of 2007. It originally went through the end of 2009, but it was extended through the end of 2012. It is in, quote, Obama's budget to get it extended to 2014, but who knows what's going to happen.
Filibustered, right? It's being filibustered right now.
Yeah. So we don't know. We don't know what's going to happen with any of that. All right. So now to people missing payment. Okay. So what do you want to tell these people to do when they're upside down and they're struggling and they decide they're going to fight, whether they're going to bring on professional help, they want to go for a loan modification? Good habits, get these people in good habits immediately. And good habits are to document everything. So I want people to archive their documents. And I have it here, archival habits. Keep all your documents. Keep them with the original envelope. And write the receive date on the outside of the envelope. Don't write on the documents themselves, write on the envelope what day you received it. Those dates can be very, very critical. They're not always critical, but they can be very, very critical. And if people aren't scanning these things and archiving them on a computer, at least put them in a box. Save them all in the same place. And it's a good habit if they know they're going to be behind in payments or they're starting to struggle, that they come in right away and start saving all their bank statements. Any correspondence they get from the servicer or the bank at that time. Okay, if they get behind and they're getting phone calls, write down the date, the time, who called, what you talked about, and what the expectation was of either you or the other party, and just get in the habit of writing these things down. I've got over 250 phone calls logged with my servicer over the last couple of years, and believe me, they really don't want to see that in court because they've said so many things. Yes?
Would it be helpful to record them, and if so, what are the wiretapping laws in Arizona?
Wiretapping laws in Arizona are excellent. Only one party needs to know that it's being
You're
tapped.
recording it.
And if you're recording it, you probably know you're recording it. So you are the one party that can do that. Now, the one party that can't do that on a conversation is an attorney. So if you're making phone calls, record it. I understand there's a way with Google Voice. If you set yourself up on Google Voice, that you can record pretty much every phone call.
Press the number 4.
Press the number 4. There you go. Okay. So that's, I'm getting there myself, actually. I'm going to get in the habit of doing that. Okay. So log in your calls and learn how to archive those as well. If I showed you how I archive stuff, that would just blow your mind. I can find literally anything that's gone on between my servicer and I for the last 4.5 years. Okay. So now that you've defaulted, what's going to happen? First off, you're going to get some calls. Hey, Charlie, you missed your payments. What's going on? And they're going to grill you. Understand, their job is to start assessing you to see if you have the capacity to file a lawsuit, or if you can be a problem for them, or you're going to be a pushover, or if you really have some money in a retirement account, or you have some money stuffed in your mattress. They're going to be grilling you. You laugh. You laugh because you know it's happening. Okay, so next thing you're going to start seeing are some letters. Letters are going to be more of an inquiry up front, but then they're going to start to get a little bit more threatening, and they're going to start talking about foreclosure or whatever. And at that point, you can probably try to mitigate something. Let's say your payment's $1,000 a month, you missed 3 payments, and you're still in the conversation letter stage. They may say to you, look, you missed 3 payments. If you can make those payments up over the next 6 months, we'll let you get back fully reinstated well. We'll fix your credit report. So you're going to have to pay $1,000 a month that you normally pay, plus pay $500 a month. Well, for most people, they're not going to be able to do that. So that's just a little mitigation type thing they try to do. Well, the next effort they're going to push on you is a loan modification. They're going to try to say, well, we've got this HAMP program, or we've got a specialty program of our own, and we can put you into that type of program. So we need your financials. And again, they're making an assessment of you. So they're going to ask you a lot of questions. They're going to ask you to fill out forms, go online, get the forms, print them out, and send them all in. I'm loath to do that. I don't like to give them all my data because I feel like they're going to, and I have seen it, they turn around and use it against you. I used to be a realtor and I was doing short sales. well, you know, on the financial statement, this guy said he had a retirement account with $120,000 in it. You know, he needs to borrow the money out and come up with that money for short sale. Like, uh, you know, that's illegal, right? Well, no, that's not. No, he can do that. It's illegal, but they'll go after it anyway. Okay, so okay, yes.
Are there any loan modifications that are helpful that you would recommend people do?
Actually, I've got some loan modifications top on the next page. We'll get to that, okay? So I just want to kind of get in there. Then you're going to get the acceleration letters. You know what? You need to pay us right now or we're going to foreclose. You might even see one or two default letters or a letter that says, hey, you know, there's some alternatives for you. If you don't want to do a modification, you know, there's some other things you can do, like a short sale or whatever. And some alternatives to foreclosure type of letter. And then you're going to find out when they get you get all those green cards that they actually filed a notice of trustee sale on you. So you are now officially in foreclosure. And timeline for that, probably it could be 3 to 6 months after you miss your first payment. Probably. I don't see too many people miss a payment and get a foreclosure notice like that. Now I've seen some people get foreclosure notices without missing payment, but that's a whole other story. Some of those things happen. Okay. One thing I like to tell people to do is maintain their homeowner's insurance. And the reason that they should maintain their homeowner's insurance is because the minute that their homeowner's insurance policy lapses, the bank is going to buy what's called a forced-placed insurance. And they usually buy it from one of their own subsidiaries at about 2 to 3 times the rate that you're paying. And oh, by the way, it doesn't cover any of your stuff, or it doesn't cover you, or anything about you living in the house. So it's like living in an apartment, and if the place burned down, all your stuff goes. Too bad. So you want to keep up your own insurance policy, if at all possible. It's going to save you money in the long run if you end up working something out. It's just a good thing to do. People also ask about property taxes. You know, my experience is that these servicers are obligated to pay property taxes based on a pooling and servicing agreement or an agreement on the other side of the servicer. Their obligation is to make sure those taxes are paid. I'm 50 months behind. My taxes are current. I haven't paid, but I have paid property insurance the whole time. All right. So what do you have for workout options? First workout option you have is the default plan, and we all know what that is. That's foreclosure. Okay. One of the others, short sale. That's where you have the 200,000 that you owe. House is worth 100. There's $100,000 short to pay off the loan. What happens is they'll find a realtor, and I can help you actually find some very qualified realtors on short sales. I refer them all out, and I custom pick short sale agents for the homeowner's needs, their style, etc., etc. So, and I'll get a referral fee for that, which is great because once in a while I get a check for a couple $100, and I'm like, oh, great, somebody else got satisfied. So that's what the short sale is all about. It's just negotiation with the bank to get these done. Now, interesting things been going on kind of under the radar in Florida. Bank of America put out a program late last year, and homeowners that entered a short sale before December 15th, and we're going to get them closed by mid or the end of August of this year, could actually get between $5,000 and $20,000 as an incentive to get the short sale done. So there's been 678 of those that actually successfully closed at an average payout to the homeowners of $12,000. So things are changing. And this is one of the things with myself, my philosophy is just live to fight another day. People say, oh, I want to be 50 months behind my payment. No, you don't. You want to be one more day behind. Just one more day. Live one more day. There's been 3 major